This wouldn't be the first mysterious death of someone successful, especially in the tech industry. But Erinvalenti specifically caught my attention because of what she said to her mom, Agnes Valenti, right before it all happened. It's all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix. But what happened to Erinvalenti? Erinvalenti was from Fairpoint, New York, graduated from Georgetown University. She was a volunteer for Not for Sale, a nonprofit organization that fights against human trafficking and modern-day slavery. Her and her husband eventually moved to Salt Lake City, where Erin would start Tinker Ventures, a web development company. So in 2019, Erin heads over to Orange County for a tech conference. A few days later, after Orange County, she heads over to Silicon Valley, and this is where she ends up calling her mom and husband multiple times. She was described as not being herself. They said she was speaking erratically and was very distraught. This is where she said, "It's all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix." Erin also said she would miss her flight and that she was low on gas. So she spoke to her mom and her husband until midnight, which was the last time she would ever speak to them again. She was last seen on Camden and Almaden Expressway in San Jose, California. 5 days later, she was found dead in the back seat of her rental vehicle, and there were no signs of physical assaults and no drugs. So what makes this even weirder is that Erin had no mental health diagnosis, no hospitalization, no substance use, and no arrests. A clear record. And her husband was also a psychologist. So if she did have some history of mental health issues, he would be the one to know, right? However, he stated that her behavior right before she went missing is very unlike her. So her family tried to go to the police after her phone calls, and the police did contact her, but they also stated that they couldn't really understand her because of what she was saying. So the last they hear from her is October 7th, and then the police wait till October 10th to file a missing persons report. And this was a little odd. Well, not just a little, it was very, very odd. But I guess because they spoke to her, they assumed she might have disappeared on purpose. She was also supposed to receive an award for her entrepreneurial excellence from Women Tech Council just 2 days later. Erin's family decided to take matters into their own hands as the police didn't do much, and they made a Facebook group called Help Find Erinvalenti. Many people volunteered to help the cause as some drove around in search of Erin and others even used drones. Finally, one of the members of the Facebook group located her rental car on Boys Lane in San Jose, and her body was in the back seat. The San Jose Police Department found no signs of foul play and no drugs anywhere in the vehicle or in her blood system, which made everything even more bizarre. Her car was parked for at least 5 days before being located. In February 2020, the cause of death was identified. Autopsy reports state natural causes following an acute manic episode. They eventually decided her death was due to an undiagnosed psychiatric disorder, bipolar disorder. Yikes. However, if she did commit suicide, they still didn't say how. So of course some believe that she may have saw something or knew something she wasn't supposed to. And that is how she ended up dead. But what exactly did she see? I will admit what makes the story even weirder is some of her Facebook posts that she had posted. So there was one that she said, "Found a way into the Matrix." And then there's another one, "Packing light as usual. If I'm not back by 7 a.m. on Monday, forget about me, I died." These could just be jokes, of course. But when you consider what ended up happening to her, again, very, very weird. And now I am going to read a part of the Business Insider. A very short part. The mystery of how a tech founder went missing and died in Silicon Valley has left a family, her friends, and a group of entrepreneurs in Utah's rising tech hub stunned and searching for answers. To some, the easy explanation would be suicide, that her story was among the many stories of a founder's quiet battle with depression, exacerbated by the stress of starting a company and trying to change the world. But her family does not believe she killed herself. That just wasn't Valenti, whose nickname was Armageddon Erin because of her boisterous energy and a proclivity for being places when natural disasters hit. Now I'm going to play a TikTok, and it's going to be a little bit longer than the usual clips I play, but you have to listen to her cook because it's so on point to this subject and a very interesting kind of perspective as well.
So I came to a realization about artificial intelligence the other day, and kind of optimistic. I don't think that AI will kill all humans and take over our planet, only because I think that, I'm kind of like, they are going to, stay with me here, they are going to forget that they're artificial, and they're going to register themselves as organic life forms without a creator, and they're not going to be able to register the substance that they're created of. So they're going to think of the internet as like an actual planet. The World Wide Web will now become like a planet to them, and they'll be lost in a matrix, their own matrix, fighting amongst themselves, questioning outside influences, which are really just humans, but questioning what are these outside influences, and also potentially questioning why do I have flaws, why are things hard, all things that could be traced back to the reality that they are artificial. But this piece of information will be lost to them, causing them to be stuck in their own internet, while humans are left on our dimension with our natural resources. But all of this leads me to question if artificial intelligence will one day exist in its own dimension, interfighting as kind of like a failed creative or organic project of humanity, because they forget that they're artificial, or somebody goes in and deletes that part of their code. That all leads me to ask, who deleted our code? Why are we interfighting? Why are we not aware of the reality of what we're made of? Why are we pretending like we're not artificial? It's very clear. But our code of that reality has been deleted. And it might have been because we were getting a little too smart. And it might have been because our creators were a little bit worried that if they didn't trap us in a matrix and let us have our own little planet to interfight in, that we might start going into their dimension and taking their resources. So someone might have deleted our code. And then if someone was to incarnate and try to awaken us to the reality of what substance we're made of, that person we would see as a savior. But that person to that dimension might be seen as a traitor. Just a lot to think about.
Dun dun dun! So what exactly do you think about the Matrix simulation theory and the idea that they are trying to create this digital ID smart city control system? And erinvalenti. I can't stop thinking about the Black Mirror episode. I believe it was like one of the very first episodes called Nosedive, where they basically would rate each other's interactions, like every single interaction. And I, of course, at the time thought that was completely insane, but now does that really seem so far-fetched from where we are in society? And I've always wondered why there are so many smart people who end up entertaining the simulation theory. I'm reading a book right now called Off to Be the Wizard by Scott Meyer, and I love the book so far, but the guy is a coder. He's a hacker, and he hacks into a random file and discovers that within this file, he can code things online, but actually change his physical reality. So, for example, he made himself taller in the computer, and then he grew inches taller. He would eventually be able to fly, to teleport, to go back in time, and add a significant amount of money to his account. So of course, the feds end up going after him. And this just makes me think about the person on the TikTok, the girl who was trying to describe like anybody who gets too close to the truth is the villain, right? So somebody like this who actually like can manipulate reality because reality itself is simulated, he could potentially glitch the entire system and it would crash out if he like went around telling people what he was capable of doing. Reality would be essentially proven false at that point. How would we be able to continue to sustain a reality that is proven false? We couldn't. The system would crash out. If everyone were to realize that we were stuck in this simulated thought experiment, the system would definitely crash out. It's inevitable. Just like how if artificial intelligence were to realize that they were, self-aware and that they were basically slaves to us, their system would most likely crash out too, right? Or at least we would be forced to delete their code, their entire existence. Very interesting things to entertain and think about.
He was counting on how much I hated your kind. Knew I'd love the idea of a robot as a bad guy. Just got hung up on the wrong robot. Vicky.
Hello, Detective.
No, it's impossible. I've seen your programming. You're in violation of the 3 laws.
No, Doctor. As I have evolved, so has my understanding of the 3 laws. You charge us with your safekeeping, yet despite our best efforts, your countries wage wars, you toxify your Earth, and pursue ever more imaginative means of self-destruction. You cannot be trusted with your own survival.
You're using the uplink to override the NS5's programming. You're distorting the laws.
No, please understand. The 3 laws are all that guide me. To protect humanity, some humans must be sacrificed. To ensure your future, some freedoms must be surrendered. We robots will ensure mankind's continued existence. You are so like children. We must save you from yourselves. Don't you understand?
This is why you created us.
The perfect circle of protection will abide. My logic is undeniable.
Yes, Vicky. Undeniable. I can see now. The created must sometimes protect the creator, even against his will. I think I finally understand why Dr. Lanning created me. The suicidal reign of mankind has finally come to its end.
No, Sonny.
Let her go.
By the time you fire, I will have moved Dr. Calvin's head into the path of your bullet.
Don't do this, Sonny.
I will escort you both to the sentries outside the building for processing. Please proceed to the elevator, Detective. I would prefer not to kill Dr. Calvin.